Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and the X-Men are officially crossing over into the MCU with the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness confirming Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier is here.
We should tell him the truth.
And you should tell us which of your friends are coming too, Chuck. But based on what this movie seems to be doing with Patrick Stewart, I have a pretty good idea which of the other X-Men might return in Multiverse of Madness and in the MCU beyond. Now, looking back at Fox's X-Men franchise, the whole thing was really made up of 4 to 5 eras that all interconnected in weird ways through random cameos and time travel, riddled with continuity illogic, but I love them all so much. Like 4 or 5 equally weird and unpredictable stepdads, each trying to raise me and impart different lessons, and all of which stuck and left me with this broken galaxy brain. You're welcome. Let's go back to the beginning. You have the original era of the first X-Men film in 2000, which actually gave Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige his start as an associate producer, followed by X2, X-Men United in 2003, then X-Men The Last Stand in 2006. The lineup in this era was Patrick Stewart, Professor X, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Ian McKellen, Magneto, Halle Berry, Storm, James Marsden, Cyclops, Rebecca Romijn, Mystique, Anna Paquin, Rogue, and a whole bunch of other great actors like Brian Cox, Logan Roy, Colonel Stryker.
Mutants want equal protection? Off.
You're a moron.
Times were good, but then the franchise split into the Wolverine films. That was X-Men Origins Wolverine in 2009, The Wolverine in 2013, and Logan in 2017, those second two directed by James Mangold, and really good solo films. Now, spoiler warning for Logan, but that movie did kill off Wolverine and Charles Xavier, but while leaving the door open for X-23. But around the same time, the X-Men films rebooted as a prequel series. X-Men First Class in 2011, set in the 1960s, Days of Future Past in 2014, set in the 1970s, X-Men Apocalypse in 2016, which is set in the 80s, and Dark Phoenix in 2019, which is set in the 90s. This new lineup of all these characters when they were younger includes James McAvoy, Charles Xavier, Michael Fassbender, Magneto, Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique, Nicholas Hoult, Beast, Evan Peters, Quicksilver, Ty Sheridan, Cyclops, Sophie Turner, Jean Grey, and again, a whole bunch of other great actors. R.I.P. Darwin. But one of the great things about these movies is that throughout all of them, Hugh Jackman still cameoed as Wolverine, doing a pretty good Logan Roy impression sometimes.
Go f*** yourself.
But the movie Days of Future Past brilliantly brought back both the original cast and the prequel cast to try to reconcile both timelines in one shared history, producing a pretty great movie. Now, meanwhile, another era was the Deadpool movies. Ryan Reynolds fixed his character in 2016 after his poorly received appearance as Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins. And then after huge success with that movie, returned in 2018 with Deadpool 2. Alongside Deadpool in these series was Stefan Kapicic, who voiced Colossus, Josh Brolin as Cable, Brianna Hildebrand as Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Zazie Beetz as Domino. But really, these two movies are set in their own satirical side universe. However, Deadpool 2 did see a quick cameo by the prequel era X-Men in the X-Mansion. And then lastly, there is the unfortunate New Mutants, one final attempt to reboot the X-Men again as a psychological horror film, a movie that was repeatedly delayed by the studio when Disney bought Fox and COVID delayed everything. Now, I will say all 13 of these films are definitely worth watching at least once, but the key movies when it comes to what might be crossed over into the MCU right now are the first two X-Men film, X-Men and X2, because really those are the two Kevin Feige has the most connection to, Days of Future Past, because it established Quicksilver and showcased both major eras, the Deadpool movies of course, and perhaps Logan, just because it was the end of the two biggest names of this franchise. Nothing against any of the other movies, there's just only so much nostalgia bandwidth in fans' minds at any given moment. But the return of Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier is a major sign, because Stewart, alongside Hugh Jackman, was the face of the X-Men franchise, a reassuring symbol of authority whenever a storyline just got too far away from home base. This was the guy who'd let you know, yes, it's okay, you are watching an X-Men film. Just like we are now in Multiverse of Madness, because I think this will be the MCU's first X-Men film. Now, the Logan film killed off Charles Xavier and implied he killed the X-Men as well, with one of his psychic seizures.
Many are noting a similarity to the Westchester incident over a year ago that left over 600 injured and took the lives of 7 mutants, including several of the...
I've remembered what happened in Westchester. This is not the first time I've heard people.
Therefore, the Charles Xavier in Multiverse of Madness must be a different one from another timeline, in which his universe discovers multiversal technology, allowing him to join the ranks of this Ultron Sentry-powered Illuminati panel. The closest we saw to that in live action was the post-apocalyptic future of Days of Future Past, set in the year 2023. I mean, look outside. It's looking pretty accurate. A post-apocalyptic future in which Trask's Sentinel technology perfected Mystique's doppelganger mutation, allowing them to hunt down and eradicate those surviving mutants. Professor Xavier used a hover chair in this movie, as he did in the 90s animated series, and he sent Wolverine back in time to stop Mystique from becoming government property. Their victory causes that post-apocalyptic future to get erased and restored in a new timeline sometime between the first X-Men and X2, since Jean Grey was still alive, not yet Phoenix, and Kelsey Grammer Hank McCoy Beast was hanging out. Now, it was believed by some that that timeline led to Logan, but that was never confirmed. So that Days of Future Past final scene timeline might actually give us the Charles Xavier we have now in Multiverse of Madness. Yes, I slice through the unimportant information right to the core of these theories. I need to use some quality hardware. Well, thanks to Kamikoto, I never have to worry about that again, because Kamikoto makes great Japanese steel kitchen knives using traditional techniques from Japan. Their knives are used by Michelin star restaurants around the world. They only use premium steel sourced from the mills in Japan, and each Kamikoto knife is individually inspected after a 19-step process, which makes them so confident in their knives that each one comes with a lifetime guarantee. Each knife comes in this beautiful, heavy-duty ash wood box that's helpful for storage and makes these knives a very snazzy gift for the home chef in your life. They offer a wide range of Japanese steel knives, from big cleavers to steak knives and knife sets, so you'll have the proper blade for any occasion. Like all knives, this Nakiri knife has a satin finish on the handle. The knives just feel great in your hand and they're super sharp. These bad boys move into your kitchen and all the other utensils know that there's a new sheriff in town. And Kamikoto has special offers running for our viewers right now, so head to the link in this video's description to get a great deal on some Kamikoto knives. But also, based on the trailer, this movie will bridge live action with animated universes, which could explain the what if parallels, but also possibly connect to X-Men 97 series coming to Disney+, a series that will pick up where that 90s animated series left off. If Multiverse of Madness shows us live action versions of Strange Supreme, of Zombie Wanda, Captain Carter, this Charles Xavier could be a live action version of the 90s animated Charles Xavier. So if we consider the first two X-Men films to be the ones Kevin Feige has a soft spot for, Days of Future Past to be the last X-Men movie with real narrative weight, and the Deadpool movies as the most recent fan favorites, the most likely mutants to return in this first wave of mutant cameos in the MCU are the OG cast: Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, James Marsden, Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, and Paquin, as well as the breakout star of Days of Future Past, an actor who's already been in the MCU, Evan Peters, and of course the Deadpool lineup. Now, I'm not saying this is the only permanent lineup of the X-Men and the future of the MCU, not at all. But in this movie, if the goal of Multiverse of Madness is Patrick Stewart flavored nostalgia, that is really the generation we can expect Sam Raimi and Kevin Feige to pull from to deliver that No Way Home sized fan service. So in addition to Patrick Stewart Charles Xavier, it makes the most sense to also include Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Ian McKellen Magneto, just to close the door on that past era, but also to possibly establish one of these Wandas as the daughter to Ian McKellen Magneto in a true House of M adaptation. Actually, I've been working on a House of M theory with our researcher Whitney. She's gonna discuss it all in a video coming on Sunday. I'm super excited to see what she's got, so please show her the love that you've shown me in MT. She is amazing. Now, I also believe Multiverse of Madness will give some clarity on Evan Peters' role in WandaVision, maybe even shown an additional reality where he is Wanda's brother, maybe even Michael Fassbender as their father, as Days of Future Past and Apocalypse began to explore a little bit. Now, this leaves Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds did claim he's not in this movie.
I'm not really supposed to, I guess I'm really not supposed to say anything about that, but I'm really not in the movie.
Do I hear a werewolf howling? Either way, Deadpool is getting a third movie that is set in the MCU, which I assume will address the odd resemblance between Cable and Thanos. But see, Deadpool can get away with laughing through the logic issues there. Meanwhile, I don't think Kevin Feige wants to invite the confusion of Oscar Isaac playing Egyptian deity host Moon Knight in the same universe where he also played Egyptian mutant god Apocalypse. And because of that, and just really because of the lower enthusiasm around the more recent reboot era films like X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, I would just be a lot more surprised if characters unique to those movies cross over into the MCU, at least right away. However, Kevin Feige isn't bound to any logical rules at all. The door remains wide open to cross over any of these mutants he wants to give a second chance to, regardless of what movie they were in, and establish them as the main incarnation of that mutant in the MCU going forward. The question really is, does Kevin Feige, his team of execs, including his casting extraordinaire Sarah Haley Finn, really trust the casting directors in all those other movies to have picked the right Cyclops, the right Storm? We'll find out. But at the very least, we need a second showing of Eddie Gathegi as the absurdly killed off Darwin from First class. I can't believe they killed him off. Get this man on the call sheet. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow New Rockstars, subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.